Once Human is getting some brand new developer updates. We also have some additional FAQs that are going to answer all your questions. We have a potential future patch you might be seeing sometime soon, which might include some new events. Additionally, we got some stuff that's going to help your playthroughs, as well as a brand new store update. We got a ton to talk about. What's up, world? Dystopia back in with another video. Today we're checking out all things Once Human. Okay, so let's just get right into it. We'll get into the game news, what's happening there with the developer updates. Now, we did have a brand new update with 1.3 that addressed some community feedback, as well as the latest fixes. However, I'm going to go over them very briefly because we have a lot to cover in this video. And as they're mostly just fixes, like ladders being fixed in their appearance, task issues being resolved and completion in the Way of Winter, the no build zones have been added to Onyx Tundra and Faena Vjord. Tutorial had its improved mechanics for depositing butterfly emissaries. The calibration blueprints also got fixed, avoiding transferring from Eternaland. Attributes will now be restored. Mitsuko was fixed getting stuck in environments. Music got a fix there missing during Secret Servitor boss fight. There was also a ton of miscellaneous bug fixes, like they resolved issues with the mist zones, throwing dagger model, the indoor rain, UI overlaps, NPCs being able to access different areas, teleportation, tower use, and task assignments. And for gameplay, they also adjusted how trash deviations are obtained. They do mention here, if you are experiencing any crash or loading issues, that you should verify game files or contact their support. Now, there's been a ton of questions around the Way of Winter. They break down all of that here, and also addressing a ton of the player feedback. So the first one here, why are there so few servers for the Way of Winter, and will there be more added in the future? So you might not have noticed if you did apply right away to the servers, but a lot of the servers did actually fill up on day 1 and day 2. However, they do mention here they're actively monitoring the Way of Winter servers, and they will open additional servers as needed. A new batch of servers have already been opened, and you can sign up for them. I think they're trying to condense that down, as they had a lot with the last PvE scenarios. In fact, they went all the way up to like 150 for the PvE stuff, although of course they typically skip around for some numbers. But yeah, they just had way too many, and a lot of them were very low pop, so I think they're trying to condense those down. For number 2 here, why didn't I receive the compensation for latency and scenario exit card issues? They did address that here, saying we sent compensation for latency and scenario exit issues to all players via in-game mail on October 17th. If you did not receive this mail, please check any of the following situations that apply to you. If your character was not created before October 17th, then you did not receive this compensation. And the second thing here is if you sign up and enter a new scenario, all your mail in your mailbox will be deleted, and any unclaimed mail will automatically be claimed and transferred to the new scenario in accordance with the seasonal transfer rules. Meaning that A, the items that can be carried over to the season or the new season will be claimed automatically by the current character. Items that can be transferred to Eternaland will be sent to Eternaland Depot when you enter a new scenario, and items that cannot be carried across seasons will be discarded. So make sure you check your mailbox, your backpack, and Eternaland Depot to see if your mail items are there. You should be claiming those before you enter a new scenario, just to make sure none of this stuff happens here. If you're a returning player who signed up for a new scenario in Eternaland, you will receive the mail and can claim the compensation when you enter that new scenario. This is because the mail cannot be accessed in Eternaland. Now, another big one here. I've heard this issue since the day 1 of the game, or at least day 1 since the new scenario transfers, where they go over here for number 3. My deviation vanished after I deposited it into the securement unit at Mitsuko's hut in the Way of Winter. What should I do? Well, they have an answer for you here. We have begun the retrieval data for deviations deposited into securement units at Mitsuko's hut in the Way of Winter. Due to the large volume of data, this will take some time though. They'll gradually restore the vanished deviations to affected players starting this week. And if you have entered the Way of Winter scenario, please do not deposit your deviation into the securement unit in this dungeon. So don't put it in there. This is causing a lot of problems, obviously, although they are going to try to retrieve all of those for you. Not sure about the seasonal transfer deviations disappearing, but more than likely your inventory might have been full. Make sure you are discarding those extra deviations that you do not need, especially the level 1s, especially if you have many duplicates of them. I know for me, I discarded some, but also sold some in Eternaland for that sand. So there are various ways to get rid of those if you want some currency there. But you should be making sure your inventory isn't full. There's a big major game breaking bug here that we're working on. Well, they said when I enter the Way of Winter, my level becomes level 50 and I cannot play the game. What should I do? Their answer here is due to a technical issue, a minority of players were shown to be level 50 and could not play the game after entering the Way of Winter scenario. This is a display error caused by a bug, and your actual level has not changed. They have issued an emergency fix for this bug and have restored the affected player's data and provided compensation. Of course, they apologize for the inconvenience there. This was a few days into this scenario, so unfortunately a lot of players probably are behind. That definitely happened to me with the last scenario where I couldn't pick a faction for 2 days. I actually did get some in-game mail back letting me know that they did fix the issue. Of course, I did cover that, and I was one of the players affected by that, which I'm really glad to hear. Next up here for question 5, will there be a hard mode for the Way of Winter? There are currently no plans to open a hard mode server for the Way of Winter, as they want to focus on optimizing the existing scenario and developing new ones. Obviously, feel free to send your suggestions to the Way of Winter scenario, and they'll make adjustments there. Really don't think they need to add a hard mode here, especially if you do try to push those higher levels quickly. The mobs do become very strong there if you are pushing through. And also for most of the hard mode servers, they were just kind of tedious with you having to eat more and drink more. Didn't really add any amount of difficulty. The game is significantly easy, especially when you do hit level 50, even in the hard mode servers. So hopefully they do kind of like up the mob density or even up the mob difficulty. Adding some new mechanics, I think, or even adding a harder raid is probably more suited to players' wants instead of adding the hard mode server in general, as it really doesn't make the game harder. I think a lot of people find the game too easy right now, even on the hard mode servers. So I think they should probably focus on optimizing these existing scenarios and maybe even optimizing or making the dungeons and raids harder instead of having it a server-wide thing. For question 6, people have had issues using their Nutcracker Silver Gentleman. A technical issue was preventing players from using this one. They have fixed the issue and reissue the item to affected players. Here's another thing why my deviations are missing after switching servers. So again, as I talked about previously with the deviations missing, if you are missing deviations, first try to go to Eternal Land, checking if they are in your Spacetime backpack and temporary backpack. Now we went over this before, but if you place them in your friend's territory, you have to retrieve them prior. If you didn't, then you need to wait until your friend switches servers or dismantles them in the securement unit containing your deviation, then you can retrieve them. However, there's a third thing here where I went over. If your vault is full, you will lose your deviations in the securement unit as you demolish them either by yourself or other players. To avoid losing deviations, please ensure your vault is not full. As I said prior, you can just dismantle them or sell them for sand in Eternal Land, as any further deviations will be lost after that point. Question and answer 8 here is, why do my deviations have a low mood? They mention here, if you do have a certain cat in your inventory that has Moonlight Jewels attribute, it might cause other deviations to work continuously, leading to low mood. For question 9 here, they received feedback for the weather reminders, asking if they can disable them. They're working on optimizing this, and these optimizations will be launched very soon. Also for the Way of Winter and the exiting of scenarios, we do have this post here from the community saying, I thought this would be useful, and it is a ton of stuff here labeling what you could transfer and how much it will cost. Very, very useful here. I went over this in one of my other videos on how to transfer and what to transfer. You can still check out that video. People still watch to this day. It's a very good breakdown in my opinion, especially for some of the ones out there. However, if you want an exact tool or exact at least useful diagram here on how to exactly or what to transfer and how much it might cost, there's a massive diagram here on essentially what everything will cost. So I'll leave a link to this post down below so you can check that out. Moving on though, we're going to be getting a new Halloween update, or at least from both of these tweets. So first up, we had this tweet here, Halloween spirit is in the air. I really wanted to get some engagement here to share your Halloween vibes in the comments down below. However, today we had a follow-up tweet here saying Halloween is just around the corner. They mentioned here, Once Human will be bringing exciting updates to both event and the shop. Now they only showcased the Lightforged loot crate as well as a shop item or shop items here, which they're calling the Hallows Masquerade. There's a ton of new outfits here, ton of new cosmetics like the Midnight Prankster, new weapon skins, even some decor for your house, which looks like you can totally revamp the inside of your house, especially with the Twilight Feast night. So some definite cool stuff there. It also looks like we're going to be getting a Halloween event, and as soon as that does drop, I will let you guys know. Overall though, it should about cover today's video. If you'd like, I'd like to subscribe, and until the next one, deuces.